everyone. This is an unscheduled live news update, a breaking news update. And I wanted to jump on really quick to let people know. Jim C says that means bad news. Hang on there. This is not bad news. This is actually good news. And as some of you are aware, Canada, we just received a travel advisory update that Canada is going forward with opening its borders. More in just a second. All right, so like I said, breaking news, Canada is opening its borders. And those of you who were following my last live Q&A that I did just on Wednesday, 2 days ago, I said that what's going to happen? Are they going to go forward with the September 7th opening or are they not? And so today I wanted to jump on very quick and just share with you something that I have just been advised about and shown. And I'm not sure. Let's see if I can give kudos right here to my good friend. I'm going to put her name right up here, Betsy Kane. Betsy Kane is a lawyer in Ottawa, and she alerted me to this. So big shout out to Betsy. Thank you for letting me know. But Betsy turned me on to this travel advisory that was just released today by immigration. Let's go through it quick, and then I'll get to your questions, because I'm going to talk to you guys about how this travel advisory will affect not only those looking to come visit to Canada from a country other than the US. Well, the reality is the US, there has been the ability to come visit for a little while now, a few weeks, but things are looking positive for all of you who've been separated from family and have been unable to come for a discretionary or optional trip. So let's take a look and let's go through this travel advisory. This information has been previously projected as happening by immigration back in, I think it was July. They indicated that they were going to move forward with this, but now we know for certain that they are going to proceed forward. And here it explains a little bit of the rationale why. So let's take a look at this right now. So you can see here, and maybe we can make this just a little bit bigger. Let's just see if I have the ability to enlarge it so you guys can see it a little bit better. Oh, that's not too bad. Okay, so you can see back on July the 19th, the Canadian government announced that they would allow fully vaccinated foreign nationals who meet the conditions that are actually going to be set out below here, the ability to come for non-essential purposes, like a holiday, like a trip. And they said that this decision is based on the latest available data, scientific evidence, and epidemiological situation, both in Canada and international. And here's what they're saying, okay? So Canada is all about a phased approach, and they're recognizing that, yes, there are variants that are of concern, but they've indicated here that as the volumes of travelers have increased in recent months, the border test positivity rate has remained low. And that's what's driving this decision. So between August the 9th and the 26th, when they open it up to, in particular, US citizens coming to Canada, the positivity rate for randomly selected for testing was 0.19%. So 112 positive out of 58,000. So while the cases are currently increasing in Canada, the illness severity and hospitalizations remain manageable. And what all of this, you guys can read all of this, what this basically means is that they can now allow more without increasing the risk to the health and safety of Canada substantially. So this is a great thing. So beginning 12:01 Eastern Daylight Time, September the 7th, fully vaccinated foreign nationals will be eligible to enter Canada for discretionary purposes like tourism, coming on a holiday, coming to visit me here in beautiful Alberta. And so I want to just touch on very carefully what these specific requirements are for these individuals. So you can see you must be fully vaccinated. And when you click on any of these links, it will give you the details as to exactly what they're looking for. I'm not going to go through all of this. You can go here, you can read it. I will make sure to put a link in the description once this live session is over. But it goes through specifically who can come, the exemptions. It talks about unvaccinated children, how you can qualify for it. So this is the basic breakdown. In particular, what you want to focus on are the vaccines that are accepted and those that are not. So there are some that Canada at this stage are not currently accepting. So yes, there are restrictions to this, because if your country does not currently offer one of these accepted tests, then it's going to limit you and your ability to travel. But let's jump back here to the other screen. So fully vaccinated, and there, or a combination, and you can see accepted by the government of Canada at least 14 days prior to entering Canada. So if you have not yet been fully vaccinated at least 14 days prior, then you're not going to meet this exemption. Okay. And then you can see that currently the vaccines manufactured by Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, COVID Shield, and Johnson & Johnson are accepted tests for the purposes of coming to Canada. And then you also have to have a valid pre-arrival COVID molecular test. And this PCR test, you can look at it. You can click on the link here once again to see exactly what that means. And proof of vaccination. All of this here is broken down in this additional information on the linked pages. But like I said, I'm not going to waste time. You guys can go, you can read this other additional information, but it's really an antigen test. Okay. So these antigen tests are some of the problems that people experience because they go through and they have these. They're often called rapid tests. Well, these don't cut it. And I know when it comes to the PCR, essentially is the one that they are focused on. And those are the tests that are going to work for the purposes of coming to Canada. So you have to have a valid test, a molecular test, taken no more than 72 hours before your scheduled flight. Now, remember, the date is from the date that you take the test, not the date that you receive the results. And it can be a real problem if there are delays in getting those results. So you can't board until you've got the results. But if it takes if it takes 48 hours or close to 72 hours before you travel, and then from the time that you take the test till you actually get the results to when you actually fly, if you exceed that 72 hours, then you're done. So you have to be very, very careful with how you're doing it so that you time it right. And my goodness, it is a real pain to get the timing right when you're trying to schedule your test, get your results back in time, and to board the flight. It can be a lot of strain, a lot of pressure. I'm also going to go over and do videos on the ArriveCan app, which is not as intuitive and easy as you think. So I'm going to give a direction, and I'm going to expand on the course that I have for the ArriveCan app to tell people and teach you how to do it. So you can also subscribe to that, which is on my Canadian Immigration Institute site, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. And so you can see here, the results have taken no more than 72 hours before your flight or your arrival at the land border crossing, or a previous positive test result taken between 14 and 180 days before departure. And so that's basically how it's structured. So if you've had a pre-arrival test, or you've had a positive test result that has happened 14 days before you've come, because they figure after that stage, you're no longer contagious. You have to be asymptomatic, so you can't be exhibiting symptoms, and then you have to use, like I said, the ArriveCan app, which is not as intuitive as it appears. You actually have to be able to upload your results, and if you don't, it can cause problems. How do you know? Even myself have had problems with ArriveCan. Okay, then of course you have to meet all of the other immigration requirements. So it's not just because you want to come, you can. You still have to get your visa if you require a visa, and you still have to be otherwise eligible and have your ETA, your electronic travel authorization, if you're coming from a country that doesn't require visas. And then take a test on arrival if selected. So not everybody is. When my family and we recently traveled, we weren't required to complete a test on arrival. So there you go. So if you're a foreign national looking to travel for discretionary reasons before September the 7th, you won't be allowed to enter. And that is what I wanted to share with you guys today. There was a lot of uncertainty as to what they were going to do. The numbers of cases were on the rise a little bit here in Canada, but this is actually really, really positive news. So let's get to your questions. So I'll give a little bit of time. let's just see here. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, so you can start posting your questions. Don't forget to put a Q by them. And let's just see who is tuning in here. Let's see. We have, okay, so we've got Gathries over. Good to see you too. And Jacqueline is actually asking a question that is unrelated. There's the breaking news, Canada borders opening. But Jacqueline is actually asking, or Jacqueline, if they will reopen the TR to PR. And this is this leads to a different discussion, okay? And the different discussion is this. I'm going to flip back to this screen and I'm going to open up right here, IRCC, ROIEE. I've been monitoring this carefully, you guys. And this plays together, okay? So you can see right here, rounds of invitations. If we just pull it up right now, you can see the last draw was September the 1st, PNPs. We have not seen a CEC draw. I thought that there would have been one yesterday. There wasn't one today so far. And in the past, when we've had these gaps, you guys, one thing we start to notice is that they're planning something big. There's some new change. There's something going to occur that's caused them to decide not to do further draws. Are they going to open it up? I think there's a very, very good chance that they might. So we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. But look at the rounds of invitations here, and we'll go right to the previous rounds, open this up, and you guys can see right here. So the last draw was PNP. And before that, you can see there was a pattern. Provincial nominee first, Canadian Experience class second the day after. PNP August the 4th, CEC August the 5th. And that pattern has played out repeatedly time and time and time again. And the last time, in fact, that we had a truly open draw was back in the end of December, right before Christmas, on no program specified draw, December the 23rd. They did a string of big draws, 5,000 per, and the lowest it got down to was 468. Now, I've told you guys repeatedly, the first draw, if they do a no program specified, with all the people that have been building up in the queue since the last draw at the end of December, all of these people that have been building up in this queue that are filling, I'll go back one more time, that are filling all of these ranks right here that you can see, like even from 451 to 500, if we go 491 to 500, we still have 1,500 people in that range. People at the 481 to 490, we have over 4,000 people. So it is almost impossible to believe, unless they do some big massive draw like we saw on February the 13th with those 27,332 people, whatever it was, drawn. Unless we see something like that, and unless they just continue with the same pattern they have before, it is unlikely that the scores, if they do an open draw, are going to be anything less than 481, maybe 482. So it's going to be really high. And then once those people have been purged out, then it will start to come down. So we're just waiting to see. Why haven't they done a draw? Are they going to open it up? There's a very good chance that it could be a no program specified draw, but let's see. Okay, so that was a good question. That was a good question. So if they haven't continued to use the CEC, I think personally, it's possible. Like anything can happen. Like this is pure speculation for sure. I think it's less likely that they're going to open up a TR to PR pathway again, but we'll just have to see. We've known that the way they rushed it out, they've been kind to people. I have not heard too many people that have had their application rejected because something was missing, but it's an interesting world that we're in. Okay, Garces, good to see you. Gary, good to see you. Simone, hello, how are you? And yes, Hitesh, no CEC draw, just like you identified. And Kit says, what about India? Well, I think personally, as Canada, as they're monitoring, I think things are going to open up. That's my belief, Ankit. I think it's going to open up for India because of the testing requirements and the negative tests and all those kinds of things. So I personally think that they are going to open it up again. Okay, so Explorer Punjabi says, what about those who got an IT on February 13th with 75? Are they receiving COPRs or not? Well, if they're in Canada as a CEC, yes, they are. Remember, outside Canada, it was a CEC only draw that scooped all those people out. So 100% they are receiving COPRs. Yes, they are. I touch on TR to PR. Like I said, I don't believe that it's going to happen. They've been very kind to people, not refusing applications. The French Francophone categories are all still open. The TR to PR pathway for the healthcare workers is not full, so it's still open. Everything else is full, and I'm not sure if they're going to open it up again. Eric, good to see you. Okay, so Jake says, can non-vaccinated foreign come to Canada but do the quarantine 14 days? No, the only way you can get on the plane initially is to show that you've actually been fully vaccinated. So you can't come and say, I'll quarantine when I get here. So that's one of the rules. Okay, good to see you, Nana. Let's see who else we have here. Okay, Sunny, yeah, lots of people are asking about this. Keen to hear your views on the pending PR files, especially for those under FSW and are outside Canada. Yeah, everything is like, there is not a lot of news to post. Like I talked about in the live Q&A last Wednesday, this 2 days ago, some visa offices are not fully staffed yet. And what's holding the whole process up is that they're still requiring COPRs. And I wish they would get rid of the electronic, I wish they would get rid of the actual visas being imprinted in passports. I wish they would just be able to scan, and so that they didn't have to have someone actually handle your passport, have you send it into them, physically imprint the visa in it, and then mail it back to you. That's the issue. If that wasn't there, then it'd be possible for them to do landings and get people moving that are outlanders, even with the officers here in Canada or in visa offices where they have more full complements of officers. So those are the restrictions, and every country is a little bit different, but we are seeing COPRs issued, and people who have been issued a COPR, a confirmation of permanent residence, are able to travel regardless of what country they're coming from, provided they meet the requirements of travel, but they're exempt from the travel restrictions. Okay. Okay, how will elections impact the remainder TR to PR applications? They won't. They're not going to cancel them. They're not going to, remove people. Both parties recognize the importance of immigration to Canada. So whether it's the Liberals or the Conservatives that are elected, and really it's only going to be one of those two groups, one of those two parties, they're not going to change anything with respect to the TR to PR. They all appreciate the fact that people who are here, who've paid money to go to school, or who are working here, have a connection, that they really are candidates that we want to see transition to PR. Yes, we want people from outside Canada as well, but in Canada, those are really, really important people, and that's who the TR to PR pathway people are. Okay, processing times for CEC Fayaz is all over the map. We've heard some people that have gotten approvals in under 2 months. Heck, I've heard of people that have gotten approvals. I haven't had anyone that I've represented get it this fast, but some CECs in under a month. And then I've heard of others that have drug on longer. So it really depends on your situation. Do you have family members? Do you have police certificates and background checks that have to be completed abroad? Some candidates came here when they were 17 and started school at university. They don't have a police certificate from another country. They're single. They're CEC. They've got a year of skilled work experience. There's very little background checks that have to be done. So that's so those are obviously going to go faster, and so it's all over the map. But I'll tell you, I tell all of my clients, I tell all of them that it's at least 6 months. And February 13ers, we've got March, April, May, June, July, August, September is 7 months. But you guys at that time had up to 3 months to file. So I suspect, Fayaz, that you're probably still under, like if it's April, May, June, July, August, September, you're still within the 6 months. And I tell all of my clients 6 months. If it comes back sooner, it's a bonus. And in some cases, it does take longer. So 80%, 6 months for CECs, that's kind of the period that I'm telling them. Okay, Dr. Reddy says, hope your flu flew away. So I have a little bit of a scratchy throat and a cough, but I'm feeling a whole lot better now. And no, it wasn't COVID. Fortunately, I had lots of COVID tests, so we're all good here. Okay, will there at least be a few conventional FSW draws before that streamlining thing gets implemented, if at all it does? Yeah. So understand that the for sure people that are already in, I believe that there's going to be draws. Now, one of the things when they're holding off is it's possible that they could be implementing changes to express entry generally. It's entirely possible that the reason they're waiting is because they've got the changes that they've proposed that are getting ready to be rolled out. But I'll be honest, guys, I'm not going to talk about it until I see it live. And there's lots of speculation, lots of people talking about occupations in demand. And yes, that was built into the budget. And yes, it could come. But until it's live, I'm not going to talk about it because that kind of speculation just doesn't help people. But once it's live, the moment it is, I'll go on and I'll dissect everything so that people understand exactly how it's going to play out. After all, I am the express entry lawyer. Okay. So yes, I think there will be a few. Yes, and I hope as well, Mahir, that applications will start to be finalized. Lots of people asking about how the election will impact. I'll be honest, guys, I don't think there's going to be a significant impact. It's possible that if the Conservatives were elected, they could dial back a little bit the total numbers. But I'll be honest, I've been in a lot of, I've been in a number of calls with the Conservative Party talking about strategy and what they're thinking about doing. And they recognize just as much as the Liberals, the importance of immigrants to the future recovery, economic and otherwise, of our country. So I'd be very surprised if they dialed back any of the annual levels plans for the number of immigrants they want to take each year. But that's about the only thing that I could see be affected. But I'll be honest, it doesn't impact, those decisions rarely impact the economic side of things because the Conservatives are really emphasizing on that. I could see the number of refugees or the number of family class applications, parents, grandparents, or things like that. I could see the Conservatives maybe dialing those back a little bit, but I'd be very surprised if there was an impact on any of the economic programs for you skilled workers out there. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Interesting. I'm a Canadian citizen. Do I need an exit visa? No, not that I'm aware of. Okay, we're hoping this person who's watching on the Express Entry Law private Facebook group, big shout out to you guys. It's been a while since I've promoted this. I think you guys are aware of this. Let's see if I can, actually, I'll pull it up here and I'll show you guys where some people are tuning in. And I really want to encourage you to go over and join this group. It's a private group. You have to be admitted in. We've got some great moderators in there, and I'm actually going to start to bring in some new moderators. But the groups, if I can find my Express Entry Law page and pull it up. Okay, let's see if we've got it here. Here it is. Okay, so this group, the Express Entry Law private Facebook group, this one has over 126,000 members in it, and it's a great place for you to go to get your questions answered and to really just, everybody's in it together. Basically and you can see I'm live right here now in the group, but come here and check it out. And yeah, it's a great resource that really was at the very beginning of what I did, was creating that private Facebook group for Express Entry Law candidates. So go over there and check it out. And that's where this question is coming from. So, yep, we're hoping that things are going to start to move forward. And I've always said, watch the changes. Watch when things start to change. And like I showed you guys before, right here, they are moving forward September the 7th for fully vaccinated international travelers to come to Canada, and the purpose of their entry is no longer important. As long as they meet the conditions, they can come for a discretionary purpose, which is like a holiday. All right. Which is, yeah, I think some of us were wondering if they were going to dial it back, because when they announced it, I think a lot of you will just put that up again. When they announced it back in July, they put a little qualifier on it. And they said, if the conditions are right, if the spread of the disease hasn't expanded, they can always pull it back. But this is confirmation today, this advisory update right today. And if you scroll down to the bottom of this, you'll see that this is hot off the press, you guys. September the 3rd, right down here. That is when they released that just today. So you're hearing it hot off of the press. Okay, let's jump back to a few more questions, and then I'm going to wrap this up, because if you, I just want to let people know what was happening, and then next Wednesday I'll have another live Q&A. But let's get to a few more questions. Okay, and Sharon, this is a good one that I'm going to ring. Let's see if I can turn on my sound effects here. I'm going to ring that bell right there. And Sharon, you said, I've received instructions to confirm my address and upload We don't need that either, do we, guys? Upload my photo on the PR confirmation portal, but I've not received anything on how to proceed for outland dependent passport request. Sharon, this is exactly the problem that the government is experiencing with these new PR portals. We've had some walkthroughs. We've had an opportunity to be briefed on what the new representative portal that will potentially look like when it's integrated with the PR portal right now. But it's a mess, my friend. You are experiencing something, Sharon, that many people are. I received a request from immigration for a client. They reached their approval in principal stage on a humanitarian and compassion application, and they told the client, go get your medical. We've already sent your medical request to you, the IMM 1017 form. And I said to the client, no, they haven't. This is a classic example of just problems within their automated correspondence system within GCMS. And then sure enough, after 2 days, after the client was stressing and I was trying to figure out if I needed to actually reach out and do a web form request for them to send the actual form, it came through. So it was actually after they said they'd already sent it. So it's not surprising, Sharon. It's a matter of patience. Web form sometime, you can reach out and say, hey, what are you guys doing? And kind of prompt them and poke them along. Nothing is perfect right now, and there's lots of problems with the system. And so you are among many others. Are regulations similar for citizens? This is regardless. So it doesn't matter if you're a citizen, if you are a foreign national, if you are, it doesn't matter, a permanent resident. This particular expansion that allows, because obviously Canadians and permanent residents have always been able to come, they just would have to quarantine and those kinds of things. But this change, this one right here that we're looking at, relates to international travelers. So foreign nationals who can now come and visit Canada where before they never could before. Okay. All right. Here's a great question, Gayatri. I'm going to answer this because I just had a consultation with someone today about this same issue. And actually it was yesterday. And then there was a follow-up question that came from it, but I never advise people to travel. Why? Especially India. How many people out there traveled to India and then when the government stopped flights, through no fault of their own, they were stuck there. And as a TR to PR pathway, you need to be physically present at the time in which your application is approved. Can you travel? Are there immigration laws that restrict you from traveling when you have a valid, status in Canada? You've got a valid work permit or study permit? No, you can travel and return. As long as before this announcement, you could show that the purpose of your trip and returning to Canada was not optional or discretionary. In other words, you were actually coming to school, to attend school, or you had a job. But with the travel restrictions, they didn't let anyone board. So you have no control over that. So I will repeatedly tell people, and I'll never change it until something different changes. I will never change it. I don't advise to travel until you have your PR in hand. Simple as that. And yes, you could go, and yes, you can assume the risk, and maybe you may have no problems coming back, but I just do not advise people to do it. Okay, Gary, I think there's a possibility that we can start to expect draws for FSW, and let's just see what's going to happen. Yep, TR to PR, HP's in St. John's. Great to see you. ER, I'm going to ring this bell for you, my friend. Questions on how to do stuff, book a consult, or you also have the opportunity, my friend, to flip over. I'll flip over here, and then I'm going to, once again, in the link below, you'll see this. But on a week from Monday, if you go to my courses, you will see that the Express Entry course starts September the 13th. And people, right now, the card is open where you can purchase it. Click on the link. And this is from September the 13th to the 18th. There is a master class that is accompanying the actual courses. And one of you, the lessons that are in the course are available right now, and they're available for life, and everything in the course you'll have available for life as long as you need it. But the master class that is led by me personally in a private Facebook group with just the cohort of people that subscribe for this course, you then are admitted into a private Facebook group, and each evening for an hour, you have an individual question answer session where you can ask your personal questions, and for that 1 hour, everyone in the group gets all of their questions answered, as well as they can post them in the group and I'll answer them outside of those times. But this I hold up against any other course on Express Entry out there. So those of you who are wondering, is Express Entry for me? Take the course. You can learn everything that you need to know to prepare yourself now for when things open up, and also to make sure that you're not making those mistakes that people make time and time and time again. And I cannot tell you how often I get consultations from people who've made mistakes. They've submitted the wrong ECA. They have submitted a document that was not properly completed. They answered questions in their form that led to misrepresentation, or failed to do something they should have that led to misrepresentation. And at least 30%, maybe almost 40 sometimes of my consultations are people that have tried to do it themselves and they've read everything, but because of simple little things that they just didn't know, that weren't readily apparent when you were going through it, immigration refused it, and their application and their opportunity to Canada in some cases was gone. And then I end up telling them, you do not get a second chance to correct your knock code. You do not get a second chance to fix your police certificate. And you do not get a second chance to immigrate to Canada and to get another ITA. And those people, you know, there's an old country and western song here in Canada that I remember my father playing on the old record player called Happy Trails. And it's basically happy trails to you until we meet again. Well, the reality is happy trails means you're going to be leaving Canada. So there we go, guys. That's the plug right here. Get over here and subscribe and join me. It is going to be awesome, and it'll be worth every penny that you, and actually I'll just flip down here and just remind everyone, scroll to the bottom, read the testimonials from the people that have just taken the last course. These people are often right here watching, asking questions even to today, and you can take it for them. Don't listen to me as to whether or not the value of this course is worth the money that you pay. So the cart is open until the 13th. Subscribe now and you can get access to everything, admit it into the group, and away we go. All right. Okay, let's keep zipping through here. Okay, Video Orchard says, I have 474 score. Should I wait or apply for a master's? 474 Outland, you may very well be in the range. It's possible. And we've talked about this before. Immigration officers do hold against you when you're applying for a study permit the fact that you've submitted an Express Entry profile. So they do. They can't use that as the only reason for refusal, but they do use it as a factor in questioning whether or not you have temporary intent. So that question really that Video Orchard is asking, should I hold off on submitting my profile, or should I go for the study permit now and then not worry about Express Entry? Well, that's right here. I'm going to ring the bell on Video Orchard because there's a whole lot more we need to talk about. Head on over to our website, and in the link below, and you'll see here, there is a link straight to speak to a lawyer, and then you can book a consultation with myself and one of my fabulous immigration lawyers who are awesome at the earliest opportunity. And you can do it right now while I'm on the live session. Everything is automated. Okay. So that's what I recommend for you, Video Orchard, so we can take a look at it right now, because I'm never going to tell you what to do until I know your full story. All right. Couple more questions and then we'll wrap it up here. There's a lot of overlap with the questions that are being asked, and I've already answered many of them. Especially in terms of whether or not IRCC is going to start moving forward with the outline applications that have stalled out, whether or not they're going to move forward with reissuing new COPRs for those who have expired COPRs. But one thing I want to tell you, watch your email carefully if you're an expired COPR, because you could get a notification that says, do you still want to continue? And you must be quick to act and say, heck yeah, I'm not giving up my opportunity. Okay. Okay, let's see what else here. Lots of people are asking questions about travel from India. And guys, I'm really going to ring that bell and I'm going to tell you to slide over here. Lots of people are asking questions and I'm not going to dive into it. People are talking about the third country clause. Why are flights from India banned? All of those questions are a matter of cabinet. So it's our government, it's our parliament that do it based on perceived health risks. So initially it was the Delta variant, simple as that. And that was one of the reasons why people get freaked out. Remember, Canada also banned flights from the UK in the early days. So when they were concerned about the virus and the dangers that it could expose to Canadian health. And so that's why, essentially. Okay, let's keep zipping through here, and we'll answer a couple more questions, and then we'll wrap it up. Let's see here, find some new questions. Let's see. Okay, Amandeep, this is a good question, Amandeep. After September the 7th, students whose classes are not in effect due to academic break would be allowed to travel as non-essential travel is allowed. Well, understand, Amandeep, you still have to justify to the officer if you're traveling on a study permit or a visa associated with a study permit that you're actually coming to take classes. Okay. If you come and your classes are canceled or there's been some delay, it's entirely within the purview of a border service officer to say, hey, this isn't a valid entry because you're coming for the purposes of study, but there's no courses here for you to take at this time. So yeah, it doesn't mean that you can just get on a plane and travel. That's for sure. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Sharon says PR finally approved. Okay. Received PR confirmation portal instructions for myself, but nothing about procedures for outline. Yes, Sharon. This is something we're seeing repeatedly, and you're just in a holding pattern because they're still trying to figure out how they're going to do this. They're still trying to figure out the integration of GCMS with the new portals and all of these changes that they're in the processes of making. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to shut it down right now. I know there's a lot of people who've posted a lot of other questions and that I just haven't had a chance to get to, but, there's Ralph. He's giving me a plug for the step-by-step guide. Thank you, Ralph. Ralph is one of my past clients who lives up in Edmonton. Good as gold. Awesome. And that little Jaden right there. Let's see if we can expand Jaden here. Let's see. Oh, I got to get this one. There we go. Let's expand this right there. Little Jaden is Jaden Markhansky, and he is my little godson. So he was named after me, which I still think is it's such a tremendous honor to ever have clients do that. And I love Ralph, and I love his sister and his brother-in-law, and they're Kai and Bella are just awesome people. So I couldn't help but give you a shout out there, Ralph. Thank you for the big plug. So yes. So I will continue to do a lot more videos now that I'm back from taking a little bit of a break to recover during the summer. It's not easy start, really building a new immigration law firm, because I started right over after practicing for 16 years in a number of configurations. Holthe Immigration Law was launched in December of 2019. And so I've been building the firm and doing videos and representing people and doing consults and collaborative reviews and all those things. And so thank you so much, you guys, for all of your support. Once again, right here, as you can see, I'll finish with this. The breaking news that we had is that Canada is going forward with opening up the borders. And so whether it's that or whether it's, let's see, this one right here, if you meet the conditions, being fully vaccinated and negative tests, then you do have the ability to come to Canada for a holiday to visit, which is wonderful. And I can't wait to also have the opportunity to go visit all of you guys in your countries, because I'm planning a world tour. All right. This is Mark Holthe, Canadian immigration lawyer, ex-immigration officer, and former high school teacher, founder of Holthe Immigration Law, the Canadian Immigration Institute, and the Express Entry DIY course, which started it all off. And the card is open. Click on the link below. Thanking you for being here, a part of this. Take care, guys. Have a great weekend.